What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Let's Talk Video Games. I'm Sal, and today we are here for a more in depth how to video for LaunchBox and BigBox. Today, I'm just going to show you guys how to set up LaunchBox and give you guys a couple of tips and tricks on how to use BigBox, how to add things like playlists and stuff like that. I hope you guys enjoy it. I'm not a professional at this. I have only been emulating games for the last 2 years or so, but I picked up a lot from Reddit, and maybe it will help you out a bit. Let's get into how to set up Launchbox and BigBox. So, of course, the first thing we're going to have to do here is download Launchbox. Just look this up on any web browser, Google, Microsoft Bing, whatever you want. I will leave a link in the description to this website. It's www.launchbox-app.com. You look it up on Google or anything, it'll be the first option that pops up here, Launchbox Frontend for Emulation. So you click on that, and now we are here on Launchbox. Now, if you are looking to purchase a big box license, you would head over here. You would head all the way to the right here to purchase, then go to Get Premium. And here is where you will see the pricing for Big Box, of course, free. Download that for free. There's regular, you have to update it every year, so $30 for that. The lifetime is $75 for Windows, and then you could bundle it for a year, I believe, for both Windows and Android. I don't usually use Launchbox on Android devices, though. I usually go with Emulation Station. Here's the pricing in case you guys wanted to buy that license. Now, to download Launchbox, we want to go to where it says download, or you could just scroll down here, download now for Windows. And here you're going to need to input a email. You will be sent an email with a link to download it through your web browser. Once you click on that link, it'll start downloading. Now, once you hit download on that link, we come back to here. You will see Launchbox 13.22-setup exe could harm your device. Do you want to keep it anyway? You will select keep, and it'll finish downloading there. Now, depending on where you want to install Launchbox, you could go here to open file. And from here, we're going to select the second one here. You want to copy this, and wherever you want to have your front end is where you would move that to. I have 3 internal SSDs here, the Windows C, D, and E. Then I have the 24 terabyte. If you want to travel with your front end everywhere and you want to basically be able to connect it to your laptop or anything else and use it that way, then you would put it on an external hard drive. I have it here, but most of the time I'm on my PC. I don't really travel that much. I usually install them on my internal SSDs. There is advantages to doing that. The SSDs are faster than the hard disk drive. So everything will just load much faster on the SSDs, and it'll be a better experience overall for you guys. So we're going to go into, let's say, disk E here, right? So we're going to make a new folder here and call it Launchbox. And now go into it. We're going to paste that copy we made of the Launchbox 13.22 setup. And then we're going to double click so we can install it. You'll see this come up here, Windows protected your PC. Select more info and then run anyway. English is my preferred language. Okay. And now if you want to read through this license agreement, you can do so. I'm just going to go ahead and accept the agreement and go next. And here's where you will select where this installs. I want to install it exactly where it was. So we're going to go into disk E, select Launchbox here, and then select OK. Then we're going to hit next, install. And now it will install. It might take a minute and a half or so to install everything. And it's done. It will automatically open up, initializing, populating local metadata, loading interface. So once we are here, we're gonna want to close this out. You could delete this exe. Going into LaunchBox here, now that you have installed it, you will see we have all these folders here for plugins, music, metadata. Whenever you download metadata, stuff like that, it'll be in here. And then of course we have that LaunchBox application. What I usually do is make a new file here just to make things easier overall and name it emulators. Any emulator that you download that you want to use with this, you could paste it in here, install it in here. That way you have all your emulators in here. That way it's nice and tidy and your whole LaunchBox setup is together. You can always reroute it, or if you have your emulators somewhere else, you could direct LaunchBox to basically run the games off of wherever you have the emulators. So you really don't need to do this step. But for me, I think it's just easier to have it here. That way, whenever I want to go into the emulators themselves, I just have it under LaunchBox, go into there, go into emulators. You get it. Just easier overall to remember where everything is. Now that we have downloaded LaunchBox, we are going to launch it here. Welcome to LaunchBox 1322. If you want to read this, you can. This is where all your games will be. All your PC games will be here under computers. If you start adding any system or arcade games, you will then have another category for arcade, consoles, and handhelds. Then up here, we have the menu. So you could launch Big Box from here. Just double click on Big Box. So just to show you guys, here's the license. I have this in my other LaunchBox setup. So all you want to do is once you download this license, you want to copy it and paste it. We want to go into LaunchBox, of course, go down and you want to paste it here. So paste the license there. And once you launch LaunchBox, you will see here, now it knows who I am, licensed to my name. That is how you copy and paste the license and make it active in the LaunchBox setup. And from here, you would go into Big Box by double clicking this. Now I want to go into what emulators I use for every system and which ones I usually download to run all my games and what's best for playing every single one of my systems. So here I have a bunch of emulators that I use for LaunchBox, and I want to go over each one of these. A7800, I believe this is for Atari 7800 games. I don't use this. I usually use RetroArch for most of the older stuff. Altera, I believe this is for the 5200. Is that what it's called? I think so. Big PMU, this one you will need for the Atari Jaguar games. This is where they run the best on this emulator, Big PMU. Simu for your Wii U games, they run fantastic on here. A lot of them do. I have Citra for Nintendo 3DS games. This emulator has been taken down for a while now, I believe. It might still be up, but I'm unsure on that. There is another emulator called Asahar for 3DS, Sega Fusion, which is to play a lot of your Sega consoles like Sega 32X, Sega Genesis, Mega Drive, Sega Game Gear as well. I usually don't use this. I used to. It's a great emulator. It's very complicated. So I just go with RetroArch as well. Then, of course, we have MAME for your MAME games. This I downloaded from the actual LaunchBox application. You could download a lot of your emulators through LaunchBox, so you might not even need to go and download them separately. Melon DS or Nintendo DS games. This is my preferred way of playing DS games. You can play them through RetroArch, Nestopia for NES games. One of the best emulators, Dolphin, for Nintendo, GameCube, and Nintendo Wii. It's awesome that you can play both systems on this emulator, and they run great. I have two emulators for Nintendo 64, and it's Project 64, which I use. I've heard, though, this isn't the best one. We also do have Simple 64, which I've heard is the best way to play them. Simple 64. Then the only PS1 emulator anyone should be using on Windows, DuckStation. DuckStation is one of the best emulators out there. It's so advanced that most of the games are playable and they run great. PlayStation 2 emulator, PCSX2 for PlayStation 2 games. This is also one of the best emulators out there. This is the only way you should be playing PS2 games really on Windows. Games run so good, like in 4K. It just really reinvigorates these games. PSP emulator, PPSSPP. This is also one of the best emulators out there. Runs PSP games flawlessly. This is what I usually use with everything on Android as well with the Retroid Pocket 5. Then RetroArch, which is great for most of your older titles like Game Boy Advance, NES, Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis, Sega Mega Drive. But yeah, RetroArch is great. You definitely need that. You could also download that from LaunchBox. RPCS3 for PlayStation 3 games. This is a great emulator. It's been really improving over the last couple of years. But when you do run these games through here, of course, you're going to need a beefy graphics card to really play these games and mess around with them. For Ryujinx, for Nintendo Switch, and the Sega Dreamcast emulator Redream. I also do have a key for Redream. You can purchase it as well. Works kind of the same way like the big box license. You just paste it next to Redream, but that basically lets you play your games in 4K and makes them run better. It's only a couple of dollars, but it's totally worth it. I have Shad PS4 here, but I don't really emulate PS4 games. I have a PS5, so I really don't care for that. SNES 9X. This is for your Super Nintendo games. Then we have Stella for Atari 2600, but like I said, I usually just use RetroArch here. I just like to have the emulators here just in case I need them. Visual Boy Advance. This I use for Game Boy Advance, Game Boy Color, and the original Game Boy. I believe the best way to play those games is on RetroArch, but I usually use this. Then Vita 3K. Vita 3K is for PlayStation Vita. And while this emulator isn't amazing, a lot of the games just don't run well on here. There are a lot of titles as well that do run well. It is improving slowly. Then we have Zemu for the original Xbox. This as well has improved a lot over the last couple of years. Still not a perfect emulator, but it does run a lot of the titles well, especially if you have a beefed up graphics card. And for Xbox 360 games, you could either use Xenia Canary or Xenia Manager. I usually go with Manager because that installs Canary on here. For Sega Saturn, I usually use RetroArch, but if you want an emulator for it, Yabuse, and of course, Yuzu. This is also for Nintendo Switch games. So that's all the emulators I'm using for my LaunchBox front end. So another thing I would do here before going into LaunchBox and adding all the games and the emulators is I would go into each emulator and configure all the settings before I really start to add games. That way, I have everything configured before I try to launch a game so I don't have to be tinkering with the settings too much once I'm in the game. I go into each individual emulator and configure the resolution and the settings for the graphics. And I also configure whatever controller I want to use with it. You can also use a PlayStation 5 controller, but I usually go with the Xbox Series X controller. The Xbox Series X controller is one of the most compatible controllers for most of these emulators. Let's go into DuckStation here, and you want to go into settings, go into graphics. I have it at 9 times native, so 4K. I have it running on Vulkan. You could configure your audio, and down here you could configure your controllers. So for controller port 1, if you want to activate this, you can add another controller if you want to play 2-player games, which is really freaking cool that you could do that. So here, analog controller, you want to go automatic mapping. Right here we have the keyboard and the mouse. So all you want to do is turn on your Xbox controller and it will automatically recognize it here. So as you see there, it came up SDL-0X input controller. So here we are on Zemu, and you want to go to machine settings, display. I usually go with the 2x resolution there. Window size 3840 by 2160 is 4K. I activate the full screen on startup. That way, whenever I open up a game on LaunchBox, it automatically opens up in full screen. VSync, we got to turn that on. Your controller as well here, Xbox Series X controller. Like I said, I would really consider going into each emulator and configuring it before adding them to LaunchBox with the games. That way, it's just pick up and play. So another thing to note here is some of these consoles will need BIOS files, so they will not run on here if you do not have the BIOS files installed either in their own emulators or on here. Systems like the Microsoft Xbox will need, I believe there's about 3 files you need to get the games running on here. For Nintendo Switch games as well, you will need some sort of key file. I believe maybe Sega CD needs BIOS files. I'm not sure on that one. Sega Saturn, you will need BIOS files, I believe, for RetroArch and Yabuse. SNK Neo Geo CD, you will also need BIOS files for this. PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, you will also need BIOS files for this. And PlayStation 3, you will need a system update download to play your games. And the same goes for PlayStation Vita, but those you can install on the actual emulator. I cannot provide where to get these BIOS files from here on YouTube, but Google, Reddit, every search engine in the world is your friend here. So now I want to show you guys the lay of the land here. We go into the tools. This here is where you will import your ROM files, your MAME arcade full sets, your MS-DOS games. And here is where you will add basically your Steam account, your Uplay, Ubisoft, whatever, GOG, Epic Games. You will add all your accounts into here so that your games will show up here. You could either choose for all your PC games that are in your library to show up here. I don't really like doing that because then it's just going to be crowded with thousands of games that I don't have downloaded. I usually just choose to stick with the installed games on my SSDs. That way it just shows what I can play. Then from manage, this is where you will manage your emulators, your platforms, storefronts, game controllers, plugins, everything like that. Here's where you download and update your metadata, platform playlist, category theme videos. So the theme videos that you get for like each system or each category. Your star ratings for all the games, where you force updates, image packs. You could import your own images for your games or videos here. Here in scan, you could go into here and scan formatted games. So for any specific platform or your storefront, any games that you have added after the fact. So after you added entire libraries or something like that, you would go here to basically ping the LaunchBox server so that it downloads any extra ROMs you've added that weren't in there before. Here is where you would add your retro achievements account. That is a website where you have retro achievements for your retro games. Not all games have retro achievements, but a lot of them do, which is pretty cool. It just makes everything funner. Getting something for what you do in your retro games is pretty fun. So the first thing I want to go into here is adding your emulators, and we are going to start with the PlayStation 3 emulator and the PlayStation Vita emulator. You might be asking, why is that? Our PCS 3 and Vita 3K, they're a bit different than the other emulators. So when you add those emulators, they automatically add any game that you have installed in the actual application for the emulator. So with Vita 3K, to add the games here onto LaunchBox, you have to add them in the actual emulator app. When you have the games there, they will automatically be imported into LaunchBox. Same thing with the PlayStation 3 emulator. If you have games in there, they will automatically be imported into here. That is how you add PlayStation Network titles to LaunchBox. So your downloadable games for PS3 that are only downloadable. You can also add your disc PlayStation 3 titles this way. But you could also add your PS3 disc games by adding them here on import ROM files. You cannot do that with the downloadable games for some reason. So now we're going to go to manage and manage emulators. Then we're going to go down to add emulator name. We're going to go to Vita 3K. Like I said, you can download the Vita 3K emulator by clicking on this little web icon. Now we're going to add the application path for Vita 3K. We're just going to find it here, Vita 3K, then look for the app, select it there. Sometimes for some reason it won't add it here. When you click OK, an error will occur where it says you have to add the associated platform. So all you want to do is go to associated platforms, Sony, PlayStation, Vita. If it's not here, you could type it in or you could add it and then just select here this little check box for default emulator. You want to select that. Then okay. So now we have Vita 3K here. And now we are going to add our PCS3 for PlayStation 3 games. Browse. Here is our PCS3. Go down to the application, double click it. Same thing. If it shows up with an error, go over here, just double check this. Okay. These are both now added. And just keep doing that with all your emulators from DuckStation to Dolphin to Big PMU. Add all your emulators here. You can also add them by importing your ROM files. When you import your entire libraries for each system, you have the option to select an emulator or to add an emulator, and you can add it that way as well. So as you see there, the games for the PlayStation Vita and PS3 emulators have already downloaded. All I had to do was sort of just wait, exit out of the app, and go back in. And it's automatically downloading all the images and videos I need for it here, as you see at the top. For PlayStation Vita, it's already over here. If I exit out of here real quick, PlayStation 3 is now here. All the downloadable titles and the PlayStation Vita games are here as well. Before we get into adding all the games, I want to go into where to get your retro achievements and the videos that play when you select the games. And that's EmuMovies. So it's these two websites here. I'll try to put them in the description for you guys so you guys can go in there. And so retro achievements, you get achievements for your old retro games. You want to go in here and sign up. I believe it's completely free. I'm already signed in. Here are all my retro achievements that I've gotten for the games I've been playing here. And I believe you also can create your own achievements and add them here. And EmuMovies, the only thing here is you do have to pay for EmuMovies. This is where you would get your more high quality background images or your box arts, your high quality videos for all of the systems. I already have an account, but you could sign up here. You could create your own account. It's completely free to create an account, but you cannot use the high quality videos for your LaunchBox setup if you do not pay for it. So now going down here to the donation options, you could be a monthly supporter for $10 for the first month and then $5 thereafter. So after the 10-month initial charge, you'll have to pay $5 every month, which isn't too bad. The one I selected was the yearly supporter. It's $30 for the first year, which isn't too bad, and then $20 every year after that. You could also be a lifetime supporter for $60, which it's just a one-time charge. It's not too bad, especially if you are using it a lot for all your games. This website is very awesome. I would really consider supporting them and getting those HD videos for your LaunchBox front end. They really do make a difference. They just make everything pop and everything look great. Create accounts, and then you will have your email logins and everything so you could log in to LaunchBox. Here we are on LaunchBox. So we're now going to go into achievements to connect to retro achievements. And here's where you would add your username and your password, and you will need an API key as well that you can get from the website. Once you got your information here for username and password, all you want to do is get this API key, this link here, and it will take you directly to the website to sign in to get your API key. Then you want to paste your API key here. And once you have it there, it will start to load all your achievements. Then you click OK, and there it is. Your retro score is now up here, 61, as you see there. It's fetching your information here for retro achievements. You are now logged in. And here is my retro achievements account. And that is how you set up retro achievements with LaunchBox. Now to go into Emu Movies, what you're going to have to do is add some games. So we're going to add one single platform. I prefer to just add one system at a time. So single platform will open up the ROMs file wizard. Next, we're going to go with the Nintendo GameCube. Select folder. Next, what platform are you importing games for? Nintendo GameCube. Scrape as Nintendo GameCube. There you go. Hit next. So here you can install the emulators. As you see there, install Dolphin or manually configure emulator. Manually configure it, and here it installs through LaunchBox. We're going to go ahead and manually configure it, and it's not here, so we're going to add it. So Dolphin, go to Browse. Here it is, Dolphin. Double click on there, associated platforms. Yes, okay. Next, would you like to move or copy the files? You could copy the files into your LaunchBox games folder. I don't like doing that because I like running the games from where they are on my external hard drive. You can move the files into your LaunchBox games folder, or you can use the files in their current location, which is what I usually do. So here it will search for game information in the local metadata. So this is just the LaunchBox metadata. Select next. I like to check all here. Next. So now this is where you would configure your Emu Movies account. So you want to select configure Emu Movies. And so here you would type in your user ID and your password. Once you hit OK, you will then be greeted with this next page here. Would you like to download media from Emu Movies? So here there are some added things like the video, low quality or high quality video themes. I like to check all, then hit next. And this, I just leave it as is. Now it's scanning the ROM locations, and we have 639 games there. And then just hit finish. Once you hit finish, it's going to import all your metadata from LaunchBox, and whatever it can find on the metadata database for LaunchBox, it will find on the Emu Movies database, like your videos and themes and stuff like that. So let this download. This will take a while to download. As you see, there's 6,000 items. Takes quite a bit of time when you're adding a lot of games. Nintendo GameCube is now added, and we have the games here. You have this little nice picture here, and you'll see things change as everything is being added. Once all the art is finished downloading, you will now see all of this amazing artwork here. There's a video there. You could choose to play it or pause it. We have this logo here for the actual game, the background, and all the box art here for all of the games. Let's go into consoles, go into Nintendo GameCube here. Image group, boxes, all of this here looks amazing, guys. You could also look at the backgrounds. All the backgrounds are there, or the ones that were available to download. We have the boxes. We have the 3D boxes there. It looks fantastic. We have the carts, so that would be the little discs for the GameCube. This looks awesome. The clear logos, so the logos for all the games that you could see up here when you select the game. And once you add all your games here, like PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3, every system you want to add, and you're signed into Emu Movies, all you got to do is kind of select all the checkboxes for LaunchBox and for Emu Movies, and everything will look like this. Look, it looks amazing. I would really consider getting the Emu Movies account. And so if you want to download playlist and category theme videos, all you got to do is go to download here. And once this opens up, it'll show you all of the consoles or categories we have here. I usually select to prioritize the colorful 4K by Viking, and then select OK. Let those download. So now when you go to computers, you see this little video is clickable here for all your computers. It looks super awesome. Let me open this up just so you guys could take a look at it. Looks so awesome. And when you go to Windows, same thing. It'll show this video here. Consoles will show a different video for consoles. If you go into each individual console, it will also have a video for each individual console, as you see there for the PlayStation 3. Looks fantastic. Go to handhelds for PlayStation Vita. You'll see the PlayStation Vita video there. And that's how you download the specific themes for these. So now we're going to go into adding your Steam games. They're already here, some of them, but I'm going to show you exactly how to add your games here so you could launch them from LaunchBox to play your PC games. All these games I have here are installed on my SSDs. You're going to need to have Steam installed if you want to add your Steam games. So we're going to go to Tools, Import. We're going to go to Steam Games. From here, this pop-up will come up. Welcome to the Import Games from Steam Wizard. Select Next, and you're going to need to enter your Steam custom URL below. To find your custom Steam URL, you're going to need to open up Steam. We're going to click on our profile name here at the top. We're going to go to view my profile, and then we're going to go to edit profile here. So we want to go down here to the bottom, and this is where you will find your custom URL. And this is the name you're going to need to input into that box for your profile. Just paste it here and then hit next. So from Steam, you want to go up to your profile here, hit the drop down, go to view my profile, and go back to edit profile. Then from here, so you basically need to set your account to public so that LaunchBox can see all your games. So you want to go to privacy settings, make sure your profile and your game details are set to public here. That way LaunchBox can see all your games. To get your API key, you're going to need to click on this link here. It's going to open up the browser here. You're going to need to sign into your Steam account to get that API key. Once you sign in here, you're going to see your Steam web API key. You're going to need to copy this API key, then go back to LaunchBox, and you're going to need to paste it here. Once you hit next, it'll say, what platform are you importing games for? Windows. Hit next. Would you like to download metadata for the games? This is what's recommended, so I'm just going to stick with that. Go to next, check all, next, check all, finish. Now it's going to start downloading metadata for those games, and you'll be able to launch them here from LaunchBox. And that is how to import your Steam games into LaunchBox. So now these Steam games are being added. If the game is installed on your hard drive, you can go ahead and play it here already. If the game's not installed, then you could go ahead and install it here. So that is sort of the basics on LaunchBox and adding games, emulators, Steam, retro achievements, Emu movies, and all of that. Once you add all of your systems and your emulators and they all show up here, you could then go into Big Box. So I can show you guys how to download the themes for Big Box so that you can make it look different if you want to. And so I can show you guys how to make your playlist for games. Like if you want to make a whole playlist for just Mario games or a certain series, or if you want to add a playlist of games you want to play. Let's get into Big Box, guys. Now we are going to launch Big Box here, and we're going to use our Xbox Series X controller here. It will automatically connect. When you open up Big Box, it'll open up your Game Discovery Center, which is this here. It'll show the games you played recently, your favorite games, your high scores, just different categories here. I don't usually like using Big Box with the Discovery Center. So we're going to go down to theme specific options. This is where you can change your options on your specific themes. Manage themes. This is where you'll download your themes. I have 20 installed. Here it'll show you which ones have updates available. most popular, available, new, updated, and available all. These are all the themes I haven't downloaded. If you have not downloaded the other ones I have installed, which are the 20, they will show up here as well. You just go to the right there, select it, and go to install, and it'll take about 10 seconds or so to install, depending on the size of the theme. So you can install it here, as you see, installed right away. When we go to install, it'll show all of the themes we have installed. My favorite by far is the colorful dark theme. Go to apply as main theme, hit yes. So now it has been successfully applied as the main theme. We back out of there, we back out again, and now let's go to view platforms. So now you will see all the platforms: Megaduck, Xbox, Xbox 360, Nintendo 3DS, Nintendo 64. We have all of our systems here. You guys see how amazing this looks? It looks so damn good. I love playing my games through here on LaunchBox. It's just amazing. Your arcade games are in here as well if you do decide to add your MAME games. I do have 20,000 games in here. So here we're going to go through all the options here: about, lock, options, theme specific options, manage themes, manage startup themes, manage pause themes, search. You could search for a game, start themes demo. Not sure what this is. The Game Discovery Center. You could view all of the games. So this will show you every single game you have on here. View all of the platforms. All the systems are here. You could view platform categories such as consoles, handhelds, Neo Geo CD for some reason is here, arcade, and computers. You could view your playlist here. Any playlist you make, you will be able to see it there. You could view genres here. So 3,988 games for adventure. If we go to beat 'em up here, we have all of these beat 'em up games from different systems. So you could go through the games through each category separately. It's pretty cool. You could view the developers if there's a specific developer that you want to go into, like abstraction games here. We got Angry Birds for the PSP, Dracula Undead Awakening for the Wii, Kick and Finnick for Wii U. So you could kind of go about this any way you want to when you're searching for games to play. You could view the publishers, you could view a specific game series if you want to. Like, for example, X-Men. You'll find the X-Men games here. You could view the ratings. So E for everyone, any game that's rated E for everyone would be here. You could view regions, so North America, Europe, Japan. View your achievements profile. And as you see, there is my achievements profile. Pretty cool. You could switch back to the desktop mode. You could sleep, reboot, shut down, and exit. So now we're going to go into adding playlist. So let's go to view platform. I'm going to make a playlist for some games I want to play. Let's go into Wii U. Why not? We're going to add Resident Evil Revelations. We're going to click on it. Then we're going to go down here to add to playlist. So we're going to click A again there, and we're going to add it to a playlist called Backlog and hit done. The game Resident Evil Revelations has been successfully added to the playlist backlog. We're going to add a couple of more games here to that backlog. We're going to add Otogi 2 to that backlog because I actually want to play that. Added to backlog, and you could kind of go about it any way. If you want to make a Capcom playlist, an exclusive playlist for all the exclusive Xbox games. Let's add a Game Boy Advance game, Crash Bandicoot. I actually like that Crash Purple Riptos Rampage. Let's add that to the playlist backlog. Let's add a PSP title that I've actually been wanting to play. Silent Hill Origins to playlist backlog. So now to view your playlist, you would go to view playlist. And as you see there, we have 4 games in the backlog playlist. We got Crash there. We got Otogi 2. We have Resident Evil Revelations. and Silent Hill Origins for the PSP. And that is how you make a playlist, or at least one game at a time playlist. Let's look at the settings for when you go into a game here. As you see, play, launch with, you could launch this with, if you have multiple emulators, you would select this to select the emulator you want to launch it with. Star rating, you could rate the game here. You could also look at the community star rating. Stop video, you could stop the video. View achievements, you could view all the achievements for this game. This game probably doesn't have achievements because it's a newer game. View related games, so you could look at some recommended games if you like this game, like Resident Evil 5 there, Dead Rising 2. Similar games or possible ports of this game, like the Xbox 360 version there, the Windows version, the 3DS version. It's pretty cool. Open folder, open images folder. This is just to go into the files of the images. Open CMU, that's the emulator. View images full screen. You can look at all the images there. You can view a 3D model of the box, which is pretty dang cool. View video full screen. You can look at the video in full screen. You could favorite this game to add it to your favorites. You could hide it. You could mark it as broken if the ROM doesn't work for some reason. You can update progress, add to a playlist, remove from the playlist. But yeah, man, that's Big Box. I love Big Box, by the way. It's fantastic. This is my favorite theme overall. We could also do here the point up theme, which I did have before, or we could do the colorful light theme, just so you guys could see how this looks. And we're going to view all platforms, and this is how the colorful light theme looks. It actually looks a bit nicer. I just usually select the dark theme because I don't want the screen to just be glaring at my eyes the entire time I'm playing. Yeah, that looks fantastic, guys. If you guys are unsure of purchasing that big box license, I would really recommend it. This just transforms the experience. Mario. And that is big box, guys. Let's go back to the desktop mode. Now we are back in the desktop mode. I just want to show you guys where to find your playlist here. So you want to go to playlist there. You'll see all the playlists here. So these are the playlists for MAME. When you install your MAME games, these categories will be installed automatically. You could select not to have these categories. The default is to add these categories automatically. So once you guys add your MAME games, you will have all of these categories here automatically, and you won't really need to worry about it. So that playlist I added on Big Box will show up here as backlog. And as you see, the games are there. If you want to add games to the playlist from LaunchBox, you just right click on the game, you go to edit, you go to add to playlist, and you could select backlog or create a new backlog here. And that is how you make a playlist through LaunchBox. Now, that's everything that has to do with LaunchBox and Big Box. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I made this specifically for one commenter in my last video. So I hope you enjoyed it. Hope I answered some of your questions that you had. And as always, guys, if this helped you out, make sure you like, subscribe, and everything. Thanks for watching. This is Sal from Let's Talk Video Games, signing out.